Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Agree to Disagree. And we're back, episode number 3. We keep it rolling, keep it rolling. And, I'm actually your gracious host, Cloudy. You can follow me at Twitter and catch me live over here, right where you guys are at right now, Cloudy Chip TV over at Twitch. And I have Mag Gamer with me. Talk to me, Mag. How you doing?
I'm not as gracious as our host. I am Mag Gamer IS. You can find me on Twitter specifically. I love using that as my main gaming platform. Of course, you can go to maggamer.com to see all my different places and all of that good stuff. But today we got some juicy stuff, and I'm excited because last week, we had an episode where Cloudy, you were throwing a lot of shots and you were swinging for the fences, man. You were Nintendo'd out. You had the Nintendo boxing gloves on, and it was like, okay. Well, we had like a little bit of a rumble.
Well, there was a reason for it, and biggest reason is because they have been doing some great things. One of the biggest things that they were doing. They had a little Nintendo mini direct, and a couple things, great things were announced, which we'll get into. But other than that, like I said, there's still some other things we're going to be discussing a little bit later on today. One of them being Overwatch. Overwatch was beta had came out sometime in this week, and together with that, we had some controversy regarding some other stuff, whether it's God of War or some other games too as well. So like I said, we're going to get into it a little bit later on today. But first things first, we're going to get into is Mario Rabbids. Mario Rabbids was announced today. It's been announced last year, but they showed a little bit more and they actually gave a release date. It should be releasing later on this year exclusively for the Nintendo Switch. The great thing about that game is that, like I said, one is exclusive, and this is the reason why I was telling Mag that we have to, give Nintendo their flowers, right? Because they've been doing such a great job with kind of holding everything together, right? That's my biggest take on the whole thing. To put everything where it needs to be, right? So one of the biggest things is this game has you enter different galaxies. You team up. So basically you have a team of 3 and you basically forge new alliances. So you basically team up with like Bowser, you team up with like the Rabbids, you can team up with like Peach, and you kind of go into this like open world adventure where you're where it's like a tactical turn-based shooter type of game. So like each character has their own specific styles and what they can bring to kind of build out your teams, right? So it's more like a tactical turn-based adventure / shooter-ish type of game style that they're going for here. And like I said, if it's up in it's in your realm of things to kind of want to get into, Nintendo always tries to take something, whether it's like a soccer game or a tennis game, and innovate it in a way that makes it kind of family friendly and as well kind of easy to get into and kind of easy to understand. So if you've never been into turn-based shooters or any type of turn-based game before, this is a kind of nice way to kind of get introduced to that type of gameplay, right? Those type of games in general, right? So I would say it's definitely worth a look because Nintendo always seems to do great things with the stuff that they announce, right? So that's my take on it. That's one of the biggest announcements that were revealed over at the Nintendo Direct. So that's what I would say.
I feel you. Well, for me, one of the biggest news and the biggest news of the week was that Super Bomberman R Part 2 is coming out. The reason I love this game is because it looks like it's just a fun family-friendly game, which it is, but it's actually very incredibly competitive when you go to the higher level top pro players that are actually looking to be the champions. And I have hosted tons of family events for a very long time, and I can't wait to host more this year, which I am going to be doing again. And the truth is that this game right here is special. First and foremost, just to kind of run it down, they got a brand new story mode that they're going to bring. If you played the original part one, it was a great story mode campaign. It was a lot of fun. There's 8 lovable characters. It's kind of like the Seven Dwarfs, you know, Sleepy and all of the funny type of characters. They really have this beautiful, lovable thing. But there's a new game mode called Castle where it's 16 players. One player is the Juggernaut, and 15 others are trying to take him down. That is going to be exciting for me, just to fool around and to play with some friends. Of course, the classic game modes are going to be there as well. On top of it, they had a new battle royale mode that they put in uh, previously that they're bringing in to this one with 64 players in a battle royale. And to be honest, just to talk about it for a second, Bomberman is the first battle royale ever in the 80s when it first came out, because they put you in a map with 4 other players and you're fighting to survive. And then they put 8 players and they continue to evolve throughout the years. But that was a great battle royale scene and one of my favorite type of battle royales. And now there's a new version of it, which is incredible. So this is going to be tons of fun. You're going to see me host venue events live in person again, and as well as online. So look out for that. It'll be at Mad Gamer INC over at Twitch. But yes, you are watching our show called Agree to Disagree here at Cloudy Chip TV. So make sure you tune in, stay rocking with us.
Perfect. And like I said, and there's still so much more to get into. One of my favorites, this is a classic favorite of mine that was announced. And it's been, and they showed more gameplay here at the Nintendo Direct. And it's going to be, my favorite one is Sonic, man. Sonic Frontiers is actually making headways. And the reason why it's so amazing and I'm so like happy about this game is because we're actually getting back Sonic in a real, for what it seems to be a real 3D adventure, right? I think the last real big 3D adventures that came out to me that I held really dear to myself is Sonic Adventure 1 and Sonic Adventure 2. And those, for some reason, always held a really strong place in my heart. And now to see something like this and what they've been able to do, it's amazing. So one of the biggest things is that you're going to be in an open world, having dynamic weather, so like rain, and I'm assuming there'll probably even be snow and things like that. So you're gonna have a lot of diversity when it comes to the open world. Top of it too, you're gonna have special zones. These special zones are gonna allow you to unlock special keys to get into progress more through the story, right? So, which is great. Another thing that they ended up implementing was a combo system. Combo system has been the first time I've ever seen, like, not the first time, but they implemented, they keep adding to what they already have. Is going to be the combo system, which allows you to, spin dash. It allows you to deflect enemy attacks. It allows you to throw fast punches and fast kicks. It allows you to get in and out between fighting off like big enemy types, things like that. So as far as gameplay, they're doing some new things with it, and I won't be surprised. My take on this is I won't be surprised if some of these special zones that you're able to get into allow you to unlock special abilities that allow you to enhance Sonic's gameplay, like his style of gameplay, right? Similar to what they do with like a Ratchet and Clank, right? That you unlock special abilities and you keep improving the gameplay, and it goes from very stale, just very normal, to being like, oh my God, this is out of control. This is amazing. So stay tuned for that, because that is actually supposed to be releasing on all consoles, and it's supposed to be releasing this holiday season, which is not that far away. So I'm actually really excited about that. That's another one that I've been kind of having my eye on, and I can't wait. It's one of my must-haves for the year for sure. So
yeah, I can't disagree, because I wish I could. It's the name of the show, but everything you described was something I think is exciting, because I played all the original Sonics and loved them, and that's my favorite style. I ain't gonna lie, because that's what I experienced. But in a whole new world, a whole new type of experience is always good. Innovation, something different. So I'm hyped about that for sure. But let me go ahead and drop some more news. This one's a little bit unique. Okay, it's a new game. It's called Code to Jin Young, and this game right here. I don't know if you guys ever seen the movie Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. It's a amazing martial arts movie. It's fantasy based. You know, you're able to basically walk on air if you have the skill and you're fighting with someone else who can do similar type of actions. But imagine a video game that presents that style to you as well and offers something unique like that. I think story wise, it could be interesting, maybe training to get good enough, all the abilities you can unlock and the combinations of those abilities and the way that's going to be presented. Also, that could be very fun and exciting. But overall, when you watch the gameplay, you're like, okay, this is pretty insane combat. And that's what matters, right? Our gameplay and what we want to do. I couldn't tell you guys much about the story. I watched the gameplay footage. I thought it was incredible. It's going to be a fun game to look forward to playing just with the combinations and different things. And once I learn more, I'll definitely be posting it up. But it's one of those games that people really don't know what it is. What is this? Code? Never heard of it, in my opinion. But it is some special coming from the Unreal Engine 5, and the visuals look really good. But just gameplay wise, is something that I'm interested in. So that's another game to look out for. We're giving you what to look out for, what was announced this week. So many games announced this week. I'm talking about nonstop from Nintendo, specifically a lot of classics coming to Nintendo, and a lot of new games never came out also coming to Nintendo. But this one right here is most likely going to be on all platforms. No official word on everything. It's just a quick demo that they put out to kind of showcase the game. So interesting stuff for me.
Yeah, man, and I can't disagree. I was actually looking at the gameplay, and I can't say, all I can say is that this is crazy how Unreal Engine 5 I think is going to be what takes the next gen and makes it next gen, right? Because I feel like a lot of times, people they complain because I don't feel like it's next gen. It's a waste of money, a waste of time, right? But reality, when you got engines like the Unreal Engine 5 displaying something tremendous like what they were able to display, it sets everything else apart, right? It just puts everything else like in the back burner because it actually says, oh, you know what? Like we're taking gaming serious and we're taking it to the next level, and this is what to expect, and this is just the beginning, right? And as they start to get more familiar with the Unreal Engine, you're gonna be able to see them be able to do more with it. And it's crazy to see the amount of the gameplay that was shown, and to be able to see what they were able to do and put that on a Switch, right? And everybody downplays the Switch as far as
Switch. It's not confirmed on what platform it's on.
Yeah, so yeah, but the fact that it was, announced and it was on the Nintendo, right, Direct, so it was one of those things that's like, okay, we got to look out for this. We got to take this a little bit more serious, right? So I actually as far as more news, another big title, and I don't want to say big, but it's big in gaming, right? Because it's made a big staples in gaming for some time. Is going to be Pac-Man. Pac-Man is going to be the next biggest thing, right? That has been announced. Reason being is that you're going to be in a basically 3D world. It's not going to be 2D. It takes it away from that 2D format and puts you more into like a 2D world where you will actually be able to, a 3D world where you will actually be able to kind of navigate and find little hidden treasures and kind of make it very fun and family friendly, right? It's a very simple game to get into, but it's like one of those games where you can kind of just get into with your kids and just kind of have a good time with, right? That's one of the biggest things about Pac-Man. Pac-Man is built this name around something that's just been easy and fun to kind of get into and fun to play. That's my whole thing with Pac-Man, and that's why I'm so excited about this, because sometimes we need games like this where we're able to just kind of sit back, relax, and just kind of enjoy ourselves, right? And not have to put too much thought, but just kind of have fun and kind of get through it, right? But that's one of my biggest things. It's going to have a bunch of mini games to explore within the maps. And the main story, the main purpose of the game is that you're going to be facing off with trying to capture your family back, because it seems like your family had been captured by the ghosts, and you're there to try to kind of be a hero and save them from the being trapped away in a unknown land, right? So it's but it's like I said, if you guys ever played, this is kind of like a remake of what was released way back in the day. I believe back in the GameCube era, this game was released at one point, and they took this and kind of rebuilt it on the new engine and kind of gave us something fresh, something new. And this game is going to be coming to all platforms. And it will be coming August 26th of 2022. So not that far. I would say probably a month, almost 2 months away. But it's, something to be excited about, right? Especially if you guys have kids and you were looking for that next gem to kind of get into and kind of sit back and kind of, and have fun and make it like a family thing. And this is actually, I think, is really, it's kind of a nice way to start. Right. And it's a nice way to get into the holiday season. Holidays are right around the corner. And to kind of smooth things into the holidays before the kids got to go back to school. This is a nice little way to do it. So I definitely feel it's worth the pickup. Not sure what we're looking at as far as price, but it will be on all consoles and it will be releasing soon, August 26th.
Right. I'm actually very excited about this only because my mother's not a gamer, but I force her to play some games. She likes VR. That's the only thing she will want to play whenever I ask her. But she doesn't like playing any other thing. I'm like, come on, try this with me, Mom. No. But she loves Pac-Man. So I can't wait to show her it and see if she's into it and go from there. But yeah, that's really cool stuff. This is my last Nintendo Direct topic for our news. We're giving you guys what to look forward to, plus just this week's information and this game called Nier Automata. This thing is fire. I just want to explain it for people who don't know what it is. First and foremost, this game has won Game of the Year, endless amounts of rewards, and when I played it, the music and the vibe is what stood out to me. It was just a vibe. Sometimes you get into a game and it's like, oh, gameplay or maybe story or this or that. The vibe of the game is what got me. And I was like, damn, this vibe is really good. Over a real good flow to it. And I'm all about the vibes. So very special game. And it's coming out for the Switch. This is from the Nintendo Direct show. They said it's coming out for the Switch in October 6th, which is crazy because this game really has some amazing gameplay. And to be able to just pick it up, download it, take it with you on a flight to LA, 6 hours or something like that. Really, really nice. And I think personally, if I had a Switch, this is a must-have because it's one of those games you could just get lost in for hours and then you look up and your flight's about to land. You could just rest, get ready to go. So big time win for Nintendo. I mean, Nintendo's really doing it special. Just to get into it with you, Cloudy, let's just have a quick round about our feelings. I felt like this week they got a W. Like they've surpassed Xbox when it comes to presenting stuff to be excited for, in my opinion. And then also, even me, who I don't have my Switch, I don't have the Switch, so I'm like, damn, this is actually really cool. And this game is looking great. And this was a third-party actual presentation. It wasn't like it was their first party overall. It had tons and tons of stuff. And to kind of run through some of it, that Mario game that you were talking about, we're going to go to, you don't probably know this, but Persona is one of the biggest ever in the world, basically. So they're going to be dropping a bunch of Persona games on the Switch for the first time. Monster Hunter is getting new content as well. The Mario and Rivets game, Nier that we just talked about. Minecraft Legends is coming out for it. And this is just a few, just to give you guys a roundabout. Mega Man, the full collection is coming out. Sonic,
no, but it's that's Battle Network. So let's not get it misunderstood. So Battle Network, Mega Man collection. It's not your Mega Man series collection, but it's in Battle Network. It's a little bit different type of style play. Yep.
Right. I'm just giving a roundabout of what was presented for the most part. You got the Pac-Man world that you were just talking about, Cloudy. We got Portal coming to the Switch. I mean, the list goes on. There's so many games. A game that I really need to play ASAP, and I think Cloudy should try it too. It's called A Plague Tale. That game is so beautiful. It's coming to the Switch, and guess what? They're using the cloud version, and this is something I haven't tried. Cloudy, have you tried the cloud version?
No, I have not.
So there's the thing you can play Nintendo Switch games through the cloud. I don't know if it's good or bad, so I can't give a like my
I've
impressions or anything
I've
like that.
streamed like I won't say streamed, but I've been able to access like because they do give you like access to like if you have a subscription you get access to like their Nintendo to their Nintendo collections, some of the 64 Super Nintendo collections. Depending on what package you got, right? You'll be able to access a lot of those classic games and be able to play them as you want. So yeah, I've been able to do that, but other than that, I'm not so much. No.
Okay, we'll figure that out again. We should probably bring that up in another podcast. We'll talk about it deeper because I can't say anything about it. But the point is that a game that big. First of all, the point is A Plague Tale is very beautiful looking, and it's an amazing story. I played the demo through the PlayStation Plus. I was so in love. I loved that game, and I can't wait to play it one day. I think it's on sale right now too. But that's on the cloud. They got No Man's Sky coming also, which is like, what? The Switch? There's no way. I got to see that with my own eyes because No Man's Sky is like huge. Then you have, of course, the game that I love, which I'm going to end this here on my side of just giving you guys all the roundabouts. And there was more, but these are the main ones, guys. Super Bomberman R2, which is huge, okay? And that's my take on everything just as far as Nintendo Direct. It was a big W in my opinion. How you feel about it, Club?
I think it was well done. I honestly, as far as like announcements, it was like I said, the fact that they had the Sonic in there and they had the Pac-Man in there and Mario, and there was not, but I can't really say there wasn't much as far as like something like threw me like, oh my god, this is I didn't know this was coming, or I can't believe this is coming, or I can't believe it's this soon and it's coming out now. They didn't hit me with no wows, right? To me, right? When I was looking at when I was watching it, but like I said, it was great to see the in-depth trailers and stuff they were able to reveal and some of their stuff. And like I said, even with the Sonic being the biggest one for me, and that's my biggest hype right now. So if I had to take the biggest hype out of that whole Nintendo Direct, it would be the Sonic and the Pac-Man are my two biggest titles right now that were revealed over at the Nintendo Direct Mini. But I would say, like I said, and this is just the Nintendo Direct Mini, right? So this is not the actual Nintendo Direct. There are talks about them doing one soon, which will reveal more on the Nintendo side, which I think we will get because this is more for like their third-party publishers. It wasn't mostly for their first-party publishers. I can see them doing their Nintendo Direct with like I said, probably even revealing like a Metroid game or maybe even like a Zelda or Mario. But that's all gonna be. I'm assuming they're holding out and kind of revealing those big titles and those big news later on, a little bit later this year. So I would think sometime next month. Or by the end of the month, they should be announcing something.
Yeah, for those listening, we do show some trailers and things like that, and we do have our live podcast that we're doing for this show. So if you're watching on if you're listening on Spotify, iTunes, and all of that stuff, you can come over to the live show. The schedule officially is for Saturdays, but of course we can shift that at times. So you want to keep in touch with us as well. So Cloudy Chip is the one running this show. So you can check out Cloudy Chip TV on Twitch and Twitter. Very easily find him and then get access to the live version as well as the Twitter for updates on when he's going to go live and things like that for this podcast. Right? There's a camera. There's Cloudy's face, which I don't know if you want to see that part, but I know you want to see me. So you guys can come watch and enjoy the show live. But if you don't want to watch our faces, because I'm pretty, and you're jealous, that's fine. But then you can go and watch on Spotify and iTunes. Okay, just so you guys know. And Konami does a lot of hard work with the visuals, trying to make sure it sounds good, but also that it looks good, at least. So we out here putting in the work for you guys, and so that was some of the news. There's still a lot more to talk about, Claudia. If you don't mind me jumping in here to break down some thoughts on my things, and I'm gonna rant for a second.
Yeah, no, go for it.
All righty. Well, first and foremost, God of War is one of my favorite series since I was forgot what year it came out, 2000 or something. Way back in the day, the first original God of War. I related to him at that time, even though he wasn't a character of like emotions or things like that. He just was always angry. I had to live in a life of danger, so I had to be that way. Even though deep down in my heart I was a good person, the fear of society turned me to be this tough guy. And that's kind of like, the man up thing in the world, right? But with that said, God of War Ragnarok is releasing this year for sure. And the reason why was because there was a lot of controversy on the internet. Last week, I predicted that on June 30th, we would get a state of play, or at least the announcement of a state of play. And that was delayed. Sony delayed it because they wanted to work on a few things. I'm not sure what happened. After they basically said, okay, be patient, we'll announce this later, the internet went crazy. They started DMing and emailing the developers and sending out very disrespectful things, and things that it's like, you can be mad that you didn't get the game when you wanted. They have not put out pre-orders anyway, so you can't get mad at something you didn't pre-order. I understand when somebody pre-orders it and they're like, I expected it on November, and you're like, oh wow, that kind of sucks. But if they never put out a pre-order, they didn't announce a release date, you can't get mad for them not to. It just doesn't make sense to me. But these people went ranting and saying disrespectful things to the developers, to the point that Santa Monica Studios, the studio who makes the game, went and posted up a tweet saying it is not okay to be that disrespectful to developers, anybody in the staff, like managers and so on and so on. And they also stated that their fans inspire them and they understand the passion and desire for more information, but you cannot be toxic and you can't disrespect human beings. Have some dignity, basically, is what they're basically saying. So,
Yep.
So he's like, let's celebrate. And this is the last words in their sentence here. It says, let's celebrate our community by treating each other, every gamer and developer alike, with respect, by Santa Monica Studios. And I agreed. I retweeted it. The creative director, Corey Barlog, retweeted it. He's been very active this weekend. It's been hilarious, actually. He's a funny guy. You want to go follow him on Twitter.
Yeah.
He'll respond to you sometimes and say crazy things. And it's just going to be an amazing game. I can tell he has a swagger. The first game, you can tell he was nervous when he was on Twitter. I interacted with him, and he seemed nervous about everything. And then this time around, he seems a lot more calm and relaxed and like he's under control. And it's pretty awesome. And I'm excited because that just means that the game is going to be that good and bigger, actually, than we expect. So can't wait. So still going for the November release date.
I'm still thinking it's going to be in April. That's still my take, April, May of next year. But just to hear that, and it's crazy that just hearing this about, all these people going crazy and attacking the studio or developer, it's crazy to me. And I get really upset when I hear stuff like this, because the thing is that people work really hard, right? And people put a lot of time and effort into
6 years.
Yeah, like a lot of time and effort and sweat and tears. And some people get divorced because they're working on games. Some people, they go through, hardships with their families, or maybe lost a loved one with all this COVID and everything happening in the world. And to hear this, it's even never not hear it, because if you go on the Twitter, you could probably see it. It's very disrespectful. It's sad that this is the world that we're in, that people feel entitled, to the point that they got to go attack another human being for something that they did put no effort into. And I'm sorry, but I get really upset when I hear stuff like this, because it's like,
you're preaching, bro. You're preaching.
Because nobody should sit here and feel that they have that much entitlement to sit here and demand something they put no effort in. That's like you acting like you're entitled to a house that you didn't even put a nail into, and someone else built. But you're entitled to that house because you feel you're entitled to that house because you live next door, or whatever the case is, or you know the person. Listen, nobody in this world owes you anything. And you should always do things and move in a certain way, knowing that, you're doing things out of the goodness of your heart, and you're not doing things because you feel like you owe someone. You should always do things out of the kindness of your heart, and you should never feel like you're owed anything. And I think, and who said it best was a movie called Fences with Denzel Washington. He goes into a conversation with his son where he talks about, what do you think? I don't like you? No, you think it has nothing to do with that. I love you. I don't like you. It's my job. It's my responsibility as a father, right? To take care of you. I brought you into this world to make sure you have a roof over your head. You got food. You got clothes on your back. It's my job. I don't have to like you, but I have a job. I have responsibility, right? And in reality, you shouldn't ever feel entitled or feel like someone owes you anything. So yeah, so to tie everything up, I'm really disappointed with the way people have been reacting. To even just hear this is disgust, man. And not only that, but for the developers, for the studio, if you're watching this, please don't get influenced by the negativity and the crap that people put you under the pressure. Because I'll tell you this, when people, crumble under the pressure that communities and want to sit here and ban or whatever, listen, they're still going to buy the game. They want to talk all this ban stuff, but when the game's released, they're going to buy the game, because if it's that great, you can't define greatness. Greatness is what it is, and you're going to be a part of it. And anybody who loves the series is going to buy it, whether they like the way it rolled out or not, right? So my thing is that for me, I would say don't crumble, because if you force this game to get put out without it being polished, with still bugs that have to be addressed, with still things that have to be fixed, what's going to end up happening is you're going to have an unfinished game, right? You're going to have a game that's going to be exposed. And then you're going to have all those people talk about, never mind they were crucifying you and talking about how you needed to release this. Oh, we need something. We need you to tell us, they're entitled. But then they're also going to be the same people who come back at you and say, oh, why is this bug in the game? Why is this? Why is that? They're going to talk all this crap about why this game is being released in this way. And so my suggestion to you guys, if you guys are watching this, please don't crumble over the community and the crap that the stress that people put you guys under. Sometimes you got to, what Cory Barlog did at one point, he deleted silenced his Twitter completely. Listen, and it's sad that people have to get put into a place where they have to do that. But listen, until this game is completely done and finished, then open up the doors for more conversation to be had. Because at this point, people are being disrespectful. Then you got to silence it and continue to work in your caves, in your dungeons, until this is completely the finished product and this is what you want to present. And then you present it. And then guess what? Anybody who was upset, stay upset. And if you were mad, then if you want to and you're still excited about this, then get over it. Sorry, but that's just the reality, and I have to say it like it is.
Sheesh, you got a little heavy, but I won't disagree with what you're saying. I just would like to add, for people in that vein, I understand the way I look at them. I'm compassionate. I feel that they need love, that they need attention, that they need to be able to get better. and we can't just condone them in that way. We condone their actions, but we have to help, whether it's family or a friend, reach out to them. And if you see them in a dark place, try to be there for them and help them out of that, because the trouble is, we play video games to escape. I know me, I'm old. I'm not a young kid. I'm playing to escape everything and enjoy myself for a moment and forget about the troubles of war, politics, whatever you want to call it, struggles. That's my joy. And the facts are, when there's people like this who are trying to ruin that fun, it just shows like, damn, they really need some help. Like, I don't feel anger towards them. I feel compassion. I feel empathy. I feel like somebody has to be there for them. And it might not be me, but somebody should try. And that's why when you see me, I don't know if you guys ever on my streams, when a troll comes in, I give them 10, 15 minutes. I kind of time it. I say, all right, I'm going to see what they're about, where their head's at. I'm going to try to adjust and let them let off their steam and see what's really behind the cover. It doesn't work all the time, but there are a few times that the person's like, oh, why did you treat me like that? Why didn't you ban me? And why they'll message me and they'll thank me later, 5 years later, 4 years later. I grew up and I realized I was just ignorant at that time. I appreciate the way you treated me. And I'm like, damn it, I could show you, Claudia, a message or two. It was just beautiful moments like that are touching, because it's hard to swallow all of that hate and that negativity when people come at you, especially when you start gaining a little fame. People do it all the time. They just do it automatically. So, I say that to say, there's sides to the story that we got to try to respect. But I brought up this topic specifically because, the United Nation of gaming, the developers, the gamers, the people who are passionate about this stuff, the new games coming out. I have two friends that work in Santa Monica studios. One is an animator. The other is a cinematic. My boy T from NBA Live went and transferred over there to Santa Monica studios when he thought he was going to get fired because they closed down the NBA Live studio. He ended up getting his dream job. And, those guys are there and they deal with their own stress and their own struggles and their own mental health issues, just like us. We're all human. So always try to be healthy and not allow these things to affect you. Step away from whoever's in your life or whatever's in your life that's not healthy. So that's my advice. But either with all that said, in the end of the day, we're going to get one of the greatest games, most likely. I really hope it's at least to the same level as the one that came before. I think it's going to surpass it. But if it can just be right there, which I think is going to surpass it, I would be very excited and very thrilled to be able to enjoy it.
Yeah, I can definitely see this game kicking it up a notch. And really take it and doing some amazing things. Yeah, because the thing is, you got a game that's came back, got remade, and got feedback from the community. And now they can see where they can add, and now they can be really creative, because never mind that they just working inside and just getting all these creative ideas. But now that it's been exposed, the first one's been exposed, and you got all these communities coming together, throwing their ideas, and now they're able to collectively take all that, plus still continue to hone in their ideas and take all that and implement that gameplay or that style that they're kind of looking for into something new and fresh in this new God of War. I can see them doing amazing things. And like I said, and I'm glad you brought this topic up, because I'm sorry, like when you started talking about it, I get a little emotional, because I don't like to see people being mistreated. I hate it. I don't like it. But at the same time, it's like I got to stand up for what I feel is right. And I don't feel like that, people acting in that way, and I know there's two sides to the story. Sometimes they got to get a little spanking. It is what it is. But it is what it is.
The internet had a spank button on it.
Yeah, exactly, right?
We're not banning you. We're spanking you.
We're going to spank you. We're not going to... No, they're going to have a like, dislike, and a spank button. But yeah, so yeah, but as far as that, so talk to me, Mac. What have you been getting into this week, man? What are some new things? Talk to me about your week.
I don't know what our segments are for the agree to disagree, because I'm not sure. But what I do know, two of the big topics of the week that I got to try out, Overwatch and Outriders, the new DLC called WorldSlayer. And mostly I'm gonna talk about WorldSlayer because I'm in love with it. I'm actually very much in love with it. I have 3 characters I'm playing through right now. I still haven't even got to the end. First of all, I played with you. We got like 4 hours in. I have my first account that I was just fooling around with. And then I have a brand new character I just made just to see what it felt like with a new character. And I played the DLC only. I haven't even tried the full game because in this new DLC, they let you make a new character and just experience only the DLC for the first time. And that's what I did. And I've been enjoying that run a lot. It's been super exciting for me. And I'm very, very much feeling good about it. And I've already talked about Outriders being one of the best. So that's been what I've been getting into. I always jump back, and I'll be honest, my rotation game is Apex Legends always. And then I was playing Ghost of Tsushima, the PlayStation 5 version, Director's Cut. Just my new game plus on my 3rd playthrough. Don't tell nobody. I think it's my 3rd.
You're going in.
I can't believe how good this game is. Like they did things that I'm like, wow. Because Cloudy, you have a great thing that you're trying to do, which is difficulty and test out difficulty. It's not easy, first of all. You have to really experience the full game to understand what difficulty is. But with Ghost of Tsushima, one slice will kill them, which makes me extremely powerful. I'm like a god. But if I make one mistake, one bad block, one bad parry, one bad dodge, and I'm done too. So that difficulty is unique to that experience because you can't do that with a shooter. You can't just be like one shot each person. You can, but it's not as good compared to a samurai style game. So I just baffled this week when I played it again, and I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah,
this is one of the greatest games I ever played. Ghost of Tsushima.
And we got to get into. We got to get into that topic, the best ninja game, right? Like samurai type / ninja game, because we got Ghost of Tsushima, we got Ninja Gaiden, and then we got Sekiro. So it's like the conversation could be had, but so it's the conversation could be had because a lot of people put Sekiro on a pedestal. They put it up here, right? So it
is great.
Yeah,
it's better than Elden Ring.
So my thing, and the sad thing is that I've gotten a chance to slightly dive into a lot of these games, but I haven't gotten a chance to really go through and fully through the Ghost of Tsushima, which me and Matt played a ton of online with Ghost of Tsushima, but I didn't really get to play too much of the story, which is sad. But I will be doing it as soon as once Ghost of Tsushima 2 gets announced and is ready to release. I will be doing a full playthrough. You can catch it here live at Cloudy Chip TV. And I'll go ahead and I'll on Twitch, and I'll go ahead and I'll start. I'll go through a whole run through, and I'll give you my actual impressions, and what are some fun things that I would like to kind of see going forward into part 2, right? So I'll go ahead and I'll give you guys my take.
For everybody listening, because I already cut you off, but he also is writing some articles about some of the stuff he plays and just breaking some stuff down. So you're getting a lot. You're getting the podcast visual live version, which we're doing right now. And if you're listening, that's what you're getting for iTunes, Spotify, all of the platforms. And then on top of that, you're getting the live streams plus YouTube. You have some cut up versions of the show so that people can go right to what they want to watch, as well as these articles where you're breaking some of the impressions or different things down when it comes to gaming. So that's cool. Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima, man, a special feeling that I don't feel much because it's crazy. And I'll just describe it like this before we end that topic. You're a badass. You're a badass samurai ninja who can do anything and nobody can stop. You just feel invincible unless you suck. But if you're really good, you're like, oh. And then you feel like goated because you're like, I'm doing all this crazy stuff, using smoke, escaping, coming back, stealthing one guy and then the other guy, doing crazy things. And then at the same time, to get to another mission, you run into a bird chirping. You follow the bird. He'll lead you to somewhere where you can upgrade your ability or upgrade something. And you go, as you finish with that bird, there's a mission next door of some random side mission. You go do that, and by the time you're still like, oh, I need to go back to the main mission, all of a sudden you go back to the main mission, be a badass, destroy everybody, and then you can repeat this cycle with a bunch of different beautiful visuals at the same time. It's just so much to the game. It's crazy. It's crazy. And then they have side stories that are like their own movie, and the visuals on there is like a movie, and you're like, oh man. Like I had times where I had to pause. I don't take pictures, I always talk trash about people taking pictures all the time in real life, but in this game I took pictures nonstop when I first played it, because I was like, this is crazy. They really focused on that, and the art director did a good job to like make you want to actually look at it. And it's somebody who just be like,
yeah, no, and like I said, and me, I love the gameplay. Like when we were playing online, and a little bit I've gotten a chance to actually play like the actual gameplay. I love it, man. It's like a really I love the gameplay mechanics on this game. So and not only that, but visually too, they did some really nice things with keeping things, making it feel like samurai movies from back in the days. So they have like certain scenes cinematic scenes where you would. And not even cinematic, it's actually gameplay. You can actually play it in this way too. That is black and white. And then
black and white.
Yeah, and then it has like, but then black and white, but they have like red or like certain colors that will pop within the frame, and it would just give it like this nice, beautiful like look to the game. And just that alone with like the gameplay, just they took into account a lot of little details. But like I said, I will definitely be going into like my whole spiel on what, how I feel about the game completely right before we, I'll give it like a nice game, like a full gameplay walkthrough of the game right before the new one comes out. So like I said, expect that. So,
gotcha.
But yeah, so as far as me, man, like I actually last night I ended up streaming, continuing my stream because there's so much going on right now. Continuing my stream with the Ratchet and Clank, and I would say that game is a masterpiece.
There you go.
Finally, by far, and I'm saying this as I continue to play and get into it. I'm looking to see if I see something where I feel like, maybe they could have done this, but it's very hard to pick at this game because they've done such a great job with every little detail. And I'm talking about from leveling up, from getting your guns to being able to level them up, to being able like that. And not only that, but I'm playing it on the hardest difficulty. And some might say, oh, it doesn't feel that hard, but it actually is. They're a lot smarter. And I'll get into more detail, but one of the biggest reasons is because they're more aggressive. And when they shoot, they don't just shoot to miss. They shoot to actually predict, because there's a lot of movement, predict kind of where you're at and where you're going to be. So they'll throw a bomb like behind you thinking you're going to walk back, or they'll throw, as they're shooting you, they'll throw like little minions coming after you, and they'll throw like stuff in front of you on the side of you, as predicting like this is where he keeps going. So I'm gonna throw something to kind of get him away from there. So they do little things like that to keep you moving and kind of keep you like on your toes. But amazing game. The gameplay to me is addicting. And the fact that they introduce little things like one of my favorite things to navigate and move around the world is they give you these little skate boots, little power booster boots, and these boots add like so much more mechanically to your movement. It adds so much more to the gameplay. Never mind with the guns and how crazy they are, but it adds that extra element of movement with the boots. And if you're able to, and when you're playing it on hard, you're gonna have to kind of use your boots to kind of get around a little bit easier. But it's making it so much more fun to me. And I'm just amazed. And not only that, but this game, if you took away the gameplay and just took the cinematics and compiled it into one thing, this can be its own movie. And that's how made it. That's how well done they did with this game, man. Like it's definitely a masterpiece all on its own. And not only that, but like a lot of games are starting to slowly convert it over to slowly convert into movies. Like The Last of Us is actually coming out with an HBO series called The Last of Us. But they're actually coming out with an HBO series. They're slowly converting game titles into like movie titles. And you've seen it way back in the days when Resident Evil turned into like a movie, and Tomb Raider started turning into a movie. They're continuously doing that, and they're turning them into series. Like The Witcher had a series, and they're doing that with, like I said, the Last of Us is going to be coming out with a series, and they're doing that little by little. So it just comes to show how far gaming has come from being something that's been pixelated into something that is, widely accepted now, right? As far as that, me and Mag, we'll get into it a little bit later today, but we did get into Overwatch. I will be giving my opinions on that. Overwatch 2, the beta dropped, I believe it was Wednesday. Wednesday, we ended up getting into it. And then as well, and that's going to go all the way through the weekend. So if you guys had a chance to purchase, I believe you have to purchase a pack, a wolf pack or some type of pack. It's like $40. You purchase it, and then you're able to get the beta. But when you get access to the beta, you're able to play it, test it out, see what's new, see what you like about it. And then on top of that, we ended up getting into the DLC. The DLC for Outriders. And I love that game, man. And me and Matt, I remember when we first played it, I was a little thing about it. And when I was like, let's grab it. I have to try it. So then when I tried it, I loved it. And me and Mag, we played through the whole thing. We got to the end game where we were doing some end game stuff. And then they came out with this DLC. And this DLC, like I said, we'll talk more about it. But amazing stuff, man. Amazing stuff. I can't say enough great things about that game. And that game caught everybody by surprise. Because it even caught me by surprise. It was one of those games that was just like, wow, they got an Outriders? What is this? This is new. I never heard of this. And then all of a sudden they came out and it's like dropping bombs because the thing just did well. It's just so well made. So, and I feel like, games that do a really good job with mechanically with gameplay, it is, typically would do well. So I always say is you can tell a lot by how a game is developed by just how well the gameplay is put together. Right. So that's my take. That's basically what's going on for me for the week. What's going on for me for the week this weekend? Not much going on. Kind of just probably hanging out with the fams. Happy 4th of July to anyone. Hopefully you guys are enjoying your time with your families and kind of taking some time and step away from your jobs for a second if you're able to do that, and kind of give yourself that time, man, because we all need it. We all need to kind of just take that moment and sit back, go to the beach, go to a lake, go have a barbecue in your backyard, whatever it is that you like to do, but give yourself that time and spend it with the family. Spend it with your loved ones, the ones you care about. But, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to plug this because you kind of brought it up for a second. So there's the Uncharted movie. There's the Last of Us TV series. There's the Ghost of Tsushima movie, which I'm very excited about. There's a Twisted Metal. I don't know if you remember that series, the video game.
Mm-hmm.
That's another TV series. There's the God of War TV series.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Horizon Forbidden West Netflix series. There's the Jack and Daxter movie. There's the Sly Cooper animation. I mean, that's a lot of PlayStation productions, but that's just a few. There's more that I can't say right now because I was about to read off the list.
Yeah.
And then break my NDA for a second because there's some of these that are not announced.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's like Sony is slowly trying to be his own Marvel. And it's like they try to put together their own cast of Marvel superheroes. And what I mean by that, I mean the God of Wars, the Ghost of Tsushimas, the Jack and Daxters, the Last of Us, the Uncharted, their own Marvel superheroes, right? And then I'm not saying they're all superheroes with powers and stuff, but you get my point. It's like they're putting together a nice cast of like IPs that they own and that they say, you know what, we're going to build our own Marvel and we're going to do this in a way that we're going to, never mind, we're going to have toys for everyone. Everybody getting toys. Toys for everyone get a toy. But then, then on top of it, they say, here, everybody get a series, everybody gets a movie, and they're just taking it beyond gaming, and it's going to be, and it's going to make it widely acceptable, which is,
But you got to remember, Sony is one of the greatest films studios out there, right? The Sony Pictures Entertainment.
Yeah.
You got the James Bond movies. You got the new Spider-Man movies that we just saw. You got Total Recall, the Men in Black movies. Bad Boys are all the movies from Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. The Resident Evil movies that are the gaming from a long time ago. They're not the best, but they're cool.
Yeah.
They got endless amounts from history. If you go back
Yeah.
to the good old days, I can go on a long list. But Sony's been around doing this forever, so I don't think
Yeah.
that all of these movies will probably be great. All of these shows and movies, but I do know that some of them will be perfect.
Yeah.
We'll get some type of masterpieces in there. It depends
Mhm.
on the director and the writer more so than Sony.
Yeah.
But Sony puts out the money, and they have endless amounts of things. You go from Adam Sandler movies like Click was one of the best he's ever done. That's a Sony movie. Grown Ups. It's called Grown Ups. You remember that?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that. Grown up. Yep.
So it's just, I mean, like, I think Sony can definitely handle it. Hopefully, well, because these are some great series. So we'll see how they do in the film space.
Yeah, like I said, and is trial and error, but I feel like they have gems in their hands, and they just finding a way to kind of pick the one big movie or title series that would kind of take them to that next level of production, and I think they got a lot to work with. So good for them, man. And like I said, and this is just the beginning. And like I said, you're gonna see this is just the beginning of everything becoming like widely acceptable. So yeah, so now to get into the fun part. Now we're going to be getting into what I like to call agree to disagree. And this is where we actually this is the part of the show where we actually throw out a couple big topics. We discuss it. We give our takes, whether we agree or disagree. And feel free to go ahead and put your thoughts in the comments or put it down in the chat or tweet it over at Cloudy Chip TV or tweet Mag over at Mag Gamer Inc. So that you can stay in tune with us and we can kind of conversate. Let's have that conversation, right? But yeah, so let's go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and give our takes on some big topics happening right now over in the industry. And one of the biggest takes right now is going to be, I'll tell you right now. Give me one sec. So it's going to be, is Outriders one of the best loot shooters out there? And also, is the new WorldSlayer any good? So it's a two-part question. We're going to go ahead and take, we'll answer the first part, then we'll go ahead and answer the second part, knowing that we've got a good amount of time that we've been able to dive into this topic, right? So as far as it being one of the biggest loot shooters, I can honestly say it's up there, but I don't feel it is. And I'll tell you why, because there's one game in particular to me that I feel overthrows it slightly and not by much, and it's going to be The Division. The Division to me overthrows it a little bit because of what it's able to bring for, never mind diversity when it comes to the online, like all these extra like toxic zones, but what it's able to bring as far as like being able to like put together and like mold like the gear, right? The gear system. And it's very complicated. So anybody getting into it for the first time, as far as The Division, it gets a little bit complicated. Here in Outriders, they've done a better job at simplifying things a bit, and making the loot system a little bit easier to kind of understand and digest, and making it so you have different types of skill trees depending on the build that you have. So they've done a really good job. And the enemy types they're able to be a lot more creative, I feel, than The Division, because The Division is more like realism. It's more realistic, right? So you'll get guys with flamethrowers, you get guys charging after you, running after you, hiding behind cover as well, throwing grenades, and they get crazy in The Division. But here in Outriders, you get a little bit of both. So you get enemy types, so you get like actual enemies flying and diving at you, big enemies, so like monsters that it's really hard to kill. But as far as we're talking loot shooters, we're talking actually looting and stuff, I say The Division does a little bit better job with the loot system. As far as, what Outriders has been able to done, they give you very well, like very different like archetypes, right? So, you could fight regular enemy types. And then not only that, but you can also fight monsters. So flying monsters coming at you, little monsters crawling, running towards you, spitting acid at you, and then you got even some enemy types that will go from, they're all the way on the other side of the state and they'll just jump towards you. and make it like, oh my God, you get that wow, like crazy factor, right? So you get it brings a lot of emotions to the game. And with it being so well done, the gameplay being done so well, I feel like it's up there, but I don't feel like it is the best loot. If we're talking loot, I would go ahead and give that over to The Division right now. So that's my take. Mag, what do you think? Do you agree or disagree?
I think the question has to do with out right now. Kind of feel like it depends on what you mean by out right now. If we're talking about like this year, the game that released, I can't agree with you because The Division is 3 years old. But understand, I'm the first one who's tweeted that The Division Part 2 was the best looter shooter I've ever played. And that still stands to this day. It's still the greatest that was out. But it's 3 years old. And they literally just announced their last content that's coming up for this whole thing for Division. This ain't about The Division, but the point is I'm a big fan. That's my number one looter shooter of all time right now. But at the moment, there's not a lot of new games that are close to Outriders, in my opinion. You know, Borderlands came out recently with Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. I don't think it even stands close to Outriders when it comes to the experience overall. If you get into Outriders, you have to dive into it, and you'll see that like gameplay, you have a lot of fun, a lot of crazy, exciting moments, very special. With Tiny Tina, I played with Cloudy, but I just wasn't as thrilled or excited. I didn't feel the dynamic nature of like, let me use this ability and do this and do that, and really go nuts the way Outriders does. So that's why I give Outriders the edge about games out right now. Now, if we're talking greatest of all time, then we have a different type of argument and a different conversation. But yes, Outriders to me, at the moment of games that are released this year so far, July, for anybody listening, July 2nd, specifically, if you're watching this later, listening later. So at this moment, no. But who knows? Maybe a game will be announced coming out in November. Greatest looter shooter of all time. But I do feel like it's a win when it comes to the DLC. I think I was just playing through the story, and then it got to a crazy plot twist that made me say, this might be a better overall story experience than the base game, possibly. The base game has all the fundamentals, but I kind of confuse it because it's all meshed together so good for the DLC that it all makes sense and everything's just kind of intertwining. So I really love Outriders, in my opinion, and I think it's a good. So I disagree with you. Basically, agree to disagree. We need to hit that button. We need to get an alert button. Agree to disagree.
Yeah, and like I said, I feel like when it comes to Outriders, as far as like I said, looters, if we're talking looting, the system when it comes to looting and all that, I do feel like, you know, The Division does a really good job because of, never mind the skill tree that you're able to have, because the skill tree here is also really great. But the way you're able to take your weapons and mold that a certain way, right? Here you do it a little bit different. Here you get shards and stuff like that you can then use to kind of upgrade your weapons over in The Division. Over at Outriders. At The Division, you know, you're able to kind of, you know, get these little blueprints and mold your guns a little bit different and make it a little bit more powerful, and you can tweak it. There's a lot more tweaking and stuff that you can do over at The Division. So looting, I feel like it's very complicated. It's not an easy thing to kind of absorb, but once you get the hang of it and you understand it, it's amazing, right? So as far as looters, I would have to give that to The Division. But if we're talking the new WorldSlayer, to me is like I think it was really well done. Like, never mind, like Mag was saying, the Outriders has a really great story. And if I had to compare it between The Division and Outriders, and sorry, this is becoming more of a comparison right now at this moment when it shouldn't be, but I feel like there's nothing else to compare this game to, because nothing else holds up to that standard but The Division when it comes to a looter shooter, to me. Like, you know, Mag mentioned Tiny Tina's, doesn't even come close. That's not even in the same conversation. You know, that's like talking. That's like trying to, you know, as I try to bring up Kanye against like someone who's just upcoming. Like it's not in the same breath. Sorry, but anyways, my whole thing is that when it comes to Outriders, the story is really well done. It's easy to follow. You understand kind of what's happening. And then with this expansion, with the DLC, they include like these nice enemy types, with the fishermen. And I have that gameplay out on my YouTube channel as well. If you guys want to check that out, go ahead and check me out at Cloudy Chip TV over at YouTube.
New plug. plug.
But they introduced like the fisherman was a really great introduction. I loved it. I was like, when I saw that character come up, I was like, oh my God. And then they had the lady that's really powerful, and she's the main reason for the DLC. I forget her name, but she was actually really well presented. I think they did a really good job presenting her. And there's some stuff in the game and the DLC I'm not gonna spoil. Go ahead and play it. But it's really great. And then like I said, in the enemy types, the way the enemies are able to come at you, and I think they improved on that by introducing some new enemy types, archetypes. So I loved it. I loved the DLC. It gave me a reason to come back to this game because, like I said, never mind that I have a really great story and a really great gameplay. The end game it's really well made too as well. But having this nice little piece of story added to it, it's a really nice introduction, and and it's a nice way to kind of get back into the groove of things when it comes to Outriders. And like I said, if I had to say if it was good, it was more than good. It was great. It was well needed, and not only that, but if they're able to give us another piece of DLC before they launch Outriders 2, or just give us the announcement, guys. Hint. I wouldn't be taken, but I would actually be the first one being like, yo, that game's getting pre-ordered right away because they did such a great job with the first one. So well done. I have to applaud them, dude, because they've done that for a game to first come out and to take on the challenge of a looter shooter, because it's not an easy challenge to do, and to do it well where it doesn't feel like there's microtransactions having to be involved, and which is a big thing nowadays. They did a really good job, and they have to be applauded for that. So round of applause for the team behind Outriders and everything that they've done. So really well done. So that's my take. That's my whole take. Anything else you want to add, Meg?
No.
All right. So that's as far as questions. So that at least, like I said, if you guys are interested in that and those type of games, you would not be disappointed playing Overwatch, just because of the diversity that it brings to the table. So definitely go ahead and
Outriders.
Yeah, you need Outriders in your life. All right. So question number 2 of the day, and this is a really big controversial one, and this is one that we have to discuss because it's been one of those things that as soon as we got a chance to play it, we say, yo, we have to talk about this. And it's going to be Overwatch 2. Is it just a copy of part 1 with a few tweaks? And this is a really big one because we and Mag both got a chance to get our hands on this game and play it. And I was really excited about it. If you guys got a chance to hear me talk about it, I was like, really excited because I felt like this game does have a lot of promise, right? And when I got a chance to play it on Wednesday night, we played it. We downloaded it, kind of got our hands on it, and it wasn't what I expected, right? And not to say that it wasn't what I expected, because the gameplay is really, I think it's very diverse, right? It's very different. The game is not, you can't really compare it to something else other than like maybe Valorant, and kind of that, and maybe Apex, but Apex not even, because Apex movement, it's on a whole other scale, right? So it has its own gameplay type of style, and that's the reason why it's built its own unique community. But to see Overwatch 2 come out and not much different, right? So they didn't do much different than part 1. There wasn't like something that I was like, oh my God, this is so crazy. They introduced so many new things. It felt very similar to part 1. And I've gotten a chance to play part one some on Xbox at one time. I played a good amount of it. And to get my hands on this, I didn't see much different. Besides, one of the biggest changes that they did was that they removed a player. So they removed the player, making it 5v5 and not 6v6. And I think that was like one of the biggest things that they ended up making as far as changes and adjusting some of maybe the characters or cast that were in the game. Other than that, there wasn't nothing like much revealing of what they were able to, that they allowed us to play. So I still have high hopes that they would, you know, that maybe they're just holding some things back. Let's hope, because if this game is free to play, I hope they're not just repackaging what they had 6 years ago, that they launched 6 years ago, repackaging everything that they've done and then saying, here guys, it's free to play now. And we're going to call it Overwatch 2 because that's not fair to the consumer, and that's not fair to the people of the community. And they need to be transparent, especially now that people gotten a chance to play this before the release of the free to play, right? Because it's going to put a lot of like thoughts in people's heads as to whether or not, you know, Overwatch is actually doing a money grab, doing a grab and run, a hit and run. And that's not, and for people, the community to feel that way because of what was presented in Overwatch 2 is not okay. And as a developer, they need to step up to the plate and give us a breakdown. Give us your breakdown of what you guys are having the back burner as far as plans for this game. Because if you got, because right now it just feels like literally like all they did was take the Overwatch name and put a 2 at the end of it and say, here we go, guys, it's free to play now. And we're going to remove Overwatch 1 and we're going to give you Overwatch 2. Not doing any favors with that. So like, let us, you know, you got to be transparent here. You got to let us know. And this is not me feeling like I'm entitled, but with a game that was released as a beta to feel this way, there has to, you know, for them to kind of save their butts, I think they need to kind of give a rollout as to what their plans are for this game. So they definitely need to do a better job and be more transparent when it comes to that. Because as of now, you know, you're kind of pretty much getting the same thing. You know, the good thing about it is that it's free. But if you already owned it, if you're a person that's already played this game in the past and already owned it, you know, and it's like, it's not really doing much for you at this point. So that's my whole take on it.
Yeah. So for me, you know, the question at hand is Overwatch just a copy of part one with a few tweaks? And I would say yes. Simple as that. I definitely agree with that statement because I played part one and I liked it. And if you guys see me on Twitter, I actually was at E3, also PAX East to 2016 or 15, one of those times, and with the developers, hanging with them, playing it first before anybody else even got a chance. So I was getting exclusive access and like pretty cool. And I thought the game was fun. And the new game is fun too. If you're into what it was before, you're not going to be disappointed with, you know, having the same game as far as that goes. But now, if you are someone who wanted something different, a little more special, you can look forward to what Claudia was talking about, whether it's 5 players, but it's not the 5 players that matters. What happened is they took it out. So now it's going to be 1 tank. And what changes is you used to double stack tanks. And basically you'll be shooting through barriers all game long. And it turned it into a boring shooter when it's supposed to be exciting. And now they actually took the chance and the time to realize that this is bad for the community. We want exciting gameplay. So now you're going to be able to see a little more action. It's not a defense the whole time. And it's going to be a lot more plays that you could make for your team, whether it's a game-changing push to take over an objective or, you know, just a clutching up and taking out multiple guys because they don't have 2 tanks to control everything. So that is a good thing. And that was nice. We didn't get much in the beta. There is next year a story mode. Well, not a story mode specifically, but a PvE mode. They haven't announced every detail on that, so we can't really get into it. But you're gonna get some extra stuff that you didn't get from the first one. Problem is, you paid for the first one, and all you got was a multiplayer with ranked, and then now you're getting a free-to-play one with more content supposedly. But it's still the exact same game with a little extra tweaks to it. My worry, and this is separate to the topic, is will the game last in this current market? Will it be able to continue? There's a big community who plays ranked. There's a big community who also tries to play competitively. Those are scenes that are probably going to be around no matter what, but they're very small compared to the bigger picture when it comes to the public. Okay, most games have a 1 to 2% professional players base, and then the 98% of like random casuals who jump on. So I'm still going to be excited to at least try it when it releases. I'm still going to be excited to try every new content when it comes out, just to give it a shot, because I like to see what games have if I want to entertain myself with it. But sadly, the statement is true. Overwatch 2 is just a copy of part 1 with some tweaks. That's my statement.
Yeah, and like I said, the gameplay is very different. So that's like I said, this game has its own community. It has its own. It built its own basic community, like of players, because of how different it is. Right? It's built around. There's really no like aim to shoot. Really, it's kind of like every character. It's a lot of times you get games that would do like, oh, you get a character, but then you have all these special guns that would do different stuff. Here you have special characters that do special stuff. So it's like, every character got their own play style, and it's not like you can go pick up a gun or you have to worry about ammo or anything like that. But all you got to do is worry about like what character, and if it fits your play style, and if that's the way you want to play. And it's fun in that sense, right? Because the game is really fun. I had a really good time with it. But my thing,
I spent the whole time healing you.
But then but like Mag said, is like, what are they going to do to stay competitive in this market, right? Because you got games like Apex who have a really strong, grasp on Battle Royale right now. Fortnite's another one. You got Call of Duty that's doing a really good job of hosting and like holding down their own community, with Warzone being the Battle Royale and the tournaments that they hold and stuff like that. So you have very, very great, like a really good competitive scene with surrounding those games when it comes to esports, right? And Overwatch had his own little section of like esports, but what game mode are they going to release? Whether it's a battle royale for Overwatch, maybe a little smaller, maybe something a little bit more fun.
You keep saying that, bro. Maybe, but damn.
Or which would make it very different, because each character will have different ways to move around the map as it's closing or whatever. Maybe they can do something fun with that and different. That's not being done right now with games like Apex and the Fortnites of the world, right? But maybe they have a nice way to kind of do something different, because the fact that they have a cast of characters that are so drastically different, right? So maybe there's a way for them to implement some type of battle royale that has some type of objective base to the game, right? So maybe something like that will be really fun. But they have to play around with it, and they have to try something new. And I haven't seen that yet. And the thing is we haven't even heard anything other than, we haven't heard anything other than like, oh, here's the game, here's the beta, we're going to be releasing some new stuff. But what's your time frame? What's your rollout look like? What are you going to give us as a community? What are you giving us that's new? Because as of now, what they've shown, even though it's great and all, you're kind of, it feels like it's like, here, we're going to give it to you free, and we're going to put a stamp. We're going to stamp 2 at the end, and there you go. Repackage it and, have it for free, guys. It shouldn't have this much marketing built into it. It should, if that's the case, and it shouldn't be stamped with the number 2 and act like it's a new thing when in reality it's not, right? So, let's go ahead and see. But I would say let's give them a chance, right? Let's give the developers a chance because, you know, this game does have a lot of promise. Let's give it a chance. Let's see what they do with it. And let's see what they say, right? What they announce for updates and how they're going to treat this free to play. It's going to be a cash grab, and they're gonna make it like Apex, where you get these battle pass. You gotta buy your battle passes, and it's nice, creative, nice costumes that you can get for your unique characters. All of a sudden, they're gonna hide them behind certain forms of currency. Or is that what they're gonna do? And that's the reason why they're going free to play, or because they have such a unique cast?
Yeah, that's like they did announce the battle pass.
So
they used to have the loot boxes.
No,
The
yeah.
battle pass.
No, but the battle pass is not bad. But I'm saying, so because a lot of companies, what they've been doing is they'll do a battle pass, and what they'll do is that they'll have, like, Apex does a really good job, and it's not, and Call of Duty does it too. They'll have these nice little packs that you can buy where you get these nice crazy costumes and this nice good looking gear. And if you're a fan of the series and that's your character that you play, you're gonna say, oh my God, I really want to have that. So then you go and you spend some, because you don't have enough coins that you made over the time of playing. You say, you know what, I need to have that. So you go and you purchase it before it expires and gets taken away. So, you end up being forced to want to buy that sooner. And it brings in that form of currency. And is that the reason why they're going free to play? Is that the reason why they're making it that way? Because if that is, that's a lousy way to that's a lousy excuse to have to want to do that, right? They have to have a bigger reason as to why they're going free to play and why they're stamping a 2 at the end of the name.
But it has to. It's not that that's a bad thing.
It's not that it's a bad thing, but you give it.
It's good and it's worth it.
Yeah,
that's what matters for me.
Yeah, but they have to give something that feels fresh and new. What are they doing fresh and new? Yeah, what are they gonna do that's fresh and new to allow for them to put a stamp of 2 at the end of it? You can't. You don't stamp a 2 at the end of something if it's just an update to what was current, right? So it's like, you don't go from firmware 1.0.2 to all of a sudden it's like the same it's like the same software, but you're gonna name it 2. No, you gotta if it's something new.
You know about that. What are you talking about? This guy sells phones. He used to sell phones for a living. You know about, every 6 months, let's put out this new phone. You a little bit of a camera.
Yeah, they do that with cars. They do that with cars too, but that's different. That we're not that.
Hey, this got an alarm on it. The car. Look at this. Oh, look at this phone. I got an upgraded pixel. 1 extra pixel.
Yeah. No, but like I said, it's like I said, they have to do better with that, man. That's just my take on it. They got to do better, and that's how I feel. They have to figure this out because, if you're gonna stamp a 2, my problem is don't stamp a 2 at the end of it. Don't put this big marketing campaign out like if you're releasing something that's new, and it's not, right. That's like Rainbow Six talking about they're gonna be coming out with a new Rainbow Six Siege 2, but instead all they do is give you the same cast of characters and call it Rainbow Six Siege 2. And all they do is just like, say, okay, we're gonna add this. Like, no, you gotta tell us what your plan is. Let us know why you're naming it 2 and what to expect. And I think that's fair, right? And I don't think that's asking too much, but especially if you're asking for people to support it, even though it's free to play, you want people to support it, and you're naming it Overwatch 2, then give us a reason to, right? And that's my take on it. And that's how I feel at the moment. So that's what I would say. So I don't have any last words on this. Mag, I'm assuming you're done.
Yes.
All right. So last question of the day. This is to kind of tie everything in. And this is the big one. And I'm gonna let you go first, Mag, on this. And it's going to be Konami is still one of the best publishers today. Do I agree to disagree?
I want you to go.
And my take on when it comes to Konami, and I've had this stance for a while now, is ever since the Metal Gear, series dropped and that support has stopped, they tried to revive it with Metal Gear Survive, which I thought was horrible. I didn't think they did a good job with it. That's my take. And that's just dumb trying to cash out on the Metal Gear name. I don't feel like they did a really good job with that game. And that was the last big title that Konami has dropped, and that was launched for the PS4. And I haven't heard anything as of yet as to what they're going to be announcing that's going to be a really big AAA title that holds up to the standard of a Metal Gear. And I haven't seen that. I haven't heard from Konami. I haven't seen it. Because we can all say that at one point Capcom was kind of in that trouble, right? Where they were like, didn't have nothing fresh to put out, but then they started putting out like, now you see how well they revamped and they were able to change their focus and get to a different place. Konami, I don't feel like has done that. I feel like Konami is too focused on sticking to casinos, sticking to their touch glass, 3D touch glass, and all this fun little arcade games for slot machines, and not worrying about what got them there, which was gaming. Gaming. Konami was the biggest publisher at one point. Konami was the guy when it comes to gaming, right? When it comes to titles. And then I felt like as of now, they just haven't shown that. And the only thing holding up Konami, that was holding them afloat, was the Metal Gear name. And now that Kojima's not with them anymore, and that series has not announced anything, and I think over how long? 6 years? 7 years? That series hasn't announced anything regarding the Metal Gear. Not even a remake, not even a reboot, nothing that can make me feel excited about Konami. So as far as like, I see them like almost like a Sega, because Sega at one point, it got to a point where Sega wasn't really putting much out, and they was just holding on to like the Sonic titles, and kind of that was really keeping them afloat at one point. And their classic titles, right, that they had in the past, and they were cashing in on that. I kind of feel Konami's kind of in that place. And now with Sonic coming out with the new Frontiers game, that can probably put them back on the map as far as competitor publishers. I can see Sega kind of still doing their thing, but Konami right now, they launched Ninja Turtles, which, mind you, I loved. I actually loved playing it. They had another game. I think it was a Contra game that we ended up playing at one point. That was really well made, but a lot of those are kind of like, they're not AAA, right? And a lot of those were like kind of like reboots and like little twists to kind of what was already once a thing, right? And I had a lot of enjoyment with it because I have a history with these games. I grew up with the Ninja Turtles. I grew up playing Contra. I grew up with these games, and Konami was a part of that. And Konami holds very good IPs. Like the Ninja Turtle IP is amazing. And it's crazy to me that it hasn't, and me and Mac talked about this countless times, but how popular that series is and how well it was taken. This new Shredder game was taken with like really good regards, right? Everybody loved it. And to see like they need to take that hype that's revolving the Ninja Turtles and revive it into today's day and age and create an actual AAA experience with Ninja Turtles. Like an actual Ninja Turtles AAA game. And if they can do that, I think they'll slowly start to regain some traction when it comes to facing off with some of these developers. But I don't feel like their focus is gaming. I feel like their focus is stuck on slot machines, and they need to, until people decide to not want to go gamble their money away in these casinos. Maybe they'll start realizing like, hey, maybe we need to go back to making some really great titles and making some really good games, as opposed to just putting a fresh pair of paint on some old content and making it somewhat fresh and then saying, here you go and have a nice flight. I don't think that, and like I said, I'm all for it because like I said, I grew up with these titles and it feels good to kind of get it nice and like refreshed. Like I said, I love the Ninja Turtle series that just came out. Had a really good time with it. But Konami, to me, when I think of publishers, that Konami, it hasn't even been there in my mind for the last couple of years, because they haven't really done anything. They haven't announced anything that's like worth putting them on the tier of Santa Monica or the Naughty Dogs or Nintendo or PlayStation or, you know, I can go on. The list goes on. Capcom. Like, there's so many, Square Enix. Like, I can go on of all these other publishers that are doing amazing things. And Konami is not holding up the end of the bargain, especially when they were once a top publisher. So I honestly don't feel like Konami should even be mentioned in the same breath as of today as being even a best publisher, because that's maybe at one time they were back then, but nowadays their focus is not gaming. They need to refocus and get back into what got them there, and it's gaming, and they haven't done that. You know, and then there was a lot of controversy revolving, like, you know, employees and things like that. I kind of, you know, did away at their name too. So there's a lot of things that go into it, but all in all, they need to at least have in development as of now a new Metal Gear or a Ninja Turtle. If they could announce something with the early Ninja Turtles or a next big AAA title that they're working on, and I feel like the two big ones they should focus would be Metal Gear 6 and also a Ninja Turtles. Actual AAA for the first time experience through Konami, actually putting together a great team to do that. We'll get them back in the conversation and we'll kind of put them right back up there. But as of now, they haven't done that. And then on top of that, if they can at least, because it's been some time, everybody's giving us all these remakes, all these remasters. I need a Metal Gear remastered with all the Metal Gears. Give me a package that gives me 1 through 4. And if you want to repackage part 5 separately, go ahead, because I get enough with 1 through 4. But if you can give me 1 through 4 remastered, and like you did at one point for the PlayStation 3, I would greatly appreciate it. And I hope you're listening, because I would love to have that. And then once I have that, then you can remake the Metal Gear 5, and I guarantee there's going to be a big community that will support that, and you'll make some money off that. And then announce a trailer saying that you're working on Metal Gear 6 and that to expect something in the future, because then at least you'll be somewhat even in the thought, because right now you're not even in the thought. So that's my take. I'm sorry, man, but I have to keep it real. And you're going to get a lot of people that might hate the opinion, that might hate my agreement and how I feel, but it's my opinion. It's how I feel. And I have valid reasons for it. And not taking anything from the greatness of what Konami once was. They still hold very great IPs, and there's still so much that they can do with what they have, and releasing, remastering some of their stuff, and then having some in the background, some stuff being developed to the new generation that they can then reveal and launch in the future will be the best game plan roadmap for them. So I need to hear something from Konami, but we haven't heard much. So that's my take. So talk to me, Meg.
All right, do me a favor. It's my turn. First of all, go to the screen so we can put up the question one more time. Make sure people see what the question is so I can break this all the way down. For those that are listening, apologies. I'll just read it out right now. But basically,
I'll put the question out one more time. Konami is still one of the best publishers today.
That is the question. Now, do I agree or disagree? We'll get into that shortly. But first, I just want to remind people and just ask people to think about this. Name the greatest series ever, or top 5 at least. And Metal Gear should be in there automatically for anybody. Anybody that likes stealth, action-based games, it'll be in top 3. And if you're like stealth specifically, it is the best of all time series. When you think about greatest horrors, there's only 2 competing against each other, and that is Silent Hill from Konami as well. And now they have tons and tons of games that we can go to history and talk about all of their greatness that they've provided since the 70s, actually. They've been putting out some of the greatest games we've ever known. Okay? Now, in 2022, funny enough, they're actually extremely successful. One of the most successful publishers out there. The problem is not these games that I'm about to talk about aren't specific to American audiences like myself or specific genres. For example, UGO has had over 30 million players just on Steam. Never mind that it's on the PlayStation 5. Never mind that it's on all the platforms. That is huge numbers. And that was back in January. That's a huge game. And it's a card game. It's something me and Cloudy don't really play. I don't know if he's ever played them. I've tried a few here and there. I'm not too good at that. The only cards I play is poker, 21, spades. Those other type of games I play. But that game is huge, okay? Over 30 million players playing it in January, okay? They made over, 4 million off of a game that's sold only in Japan for the Switch. Then Tisu, and I'm definitely butchering the name. But the point is they have that. Now, when you talk about what is the best soccer, aka football game in the world, the argument can go to FIFA or to eFootball is the new name of the Konami game, which is you previously PES, Pro Evolution Soccer. And that game is doing something very different and new, underrated also, which is going free to play. And FIFA's going to follow suit next year, but they've been doing this for 2 years now. And that is an underrated game that's been really growing and being one of the best soccer games. And people will debate that it is the best or it isn't. And that's a preference. That has nothing to do with opinion. I mean, with facts here. But the facts are that game is also starting to help them accumulate that fan base specifically to that genre. Now, I'm a basketball head, so NBA is what I care about most. But, there's those who really care about soccer, aka football. With that in mind, this year, we didn't get the Metal Gears like what I would want and what Cloudy's talking about, but we are going to be getting the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection, which is pretty much every single game from the Ninja Turtles collection. And then on top of that, the Yu-Gi-Oh that I just told you guys about, biggest game in the world. Now, these guys are doing huge things. Now, I can't talk about what's happening with Metal Gear or other series that they will be possibly dropping soon. The news is coming. I will say this. You want to watch out for Gamescom, and you want to watch out for Tokyo Game Show. That's in August and in September. 2 months. And I actually want to be at these venue events. That's how special they're going to be for me. But I probably can't. I don't know. We got to see if I get the invite and so on. But that would be special because, like I said before, Konami does great things. Now, I do want to address something that Cloudy was talking about for everybody listening to understand. Konami is not just a game studio. Most studios that you know and love are just game studios. Konami is a billion-dollar corporation who runs casinos, who has other ventures that have nothing to do with gaming at all. And then they have the branches of gaming also. And they're so big, they have branches in America, UK, they have all over the globe, they have studios managing all of these things. And that has nothing to do with gaming. And I think people get mad when they see all this extra stuff. But if you go to Japan, for example, a pachinko machine is a gambling machine. And that gambling machine is everywhere. You can go to your local restaurant and they'll have one there. And that's why Konami did those things. It had nothing to do with gaming. It just was what the culture in Japan is like. These are everywhere. And there are in other third world countries as well. And like, I'm a Puerto Rican. I go to Puerto Rico and they have them in these small little restaurants. And you go in there and you eating, and all of a sudden you start using the machine, spend half the day there. And I did that once waiting for my mom. My stepdad kept giving me money. He gave me like $20. I won 40. And we spent all the 40 and keep playing, waiting for my mom to do her hair because we was going to go out. And those type of things are only known in different cultures. So it's confusing when people see it, and I get it, and it's a good thing to troll about. For me, I joked around about this when they did a pachinko, aka a gambling machine, a couple years ago. This was back when all the drama was happening. I said, hey, and actually, Cloudy, I was with you, and I could send you the tweet one day. I basically was like, I wish there was a Metal Gear gas station, a Metal Gear watch, a Metal Gear car, and I forgot what else. And I took a picture of your watch. I took a picture of the gas station we were at, Cloudy. We were together that day. And I trolled the internet. I got slammed and jammed and beat up because I just thought it was funny, because the truth is Disney does this. They have marketing for anything. You know, you want a t-shirt, a mug. Like a mug has nothing to do with Disney, but they have it. Whatever you want, a book bag, and it just comes with the territory of being great. With that in mind, Konami has a lot of things under their belt right now. And the principle of my topic of what I'm talking about is they have some of the greatest series of all time. And yes, it's correct. They haven't put out stuff that is well known, but 30 million players on Yu-Gi-Oh!, a game that I won't play. I tried it actually, and I sucked. I couldn't even beat the demo. The demo beat me 3 times, and I just turned the game off. Rage quit, basically, because I never played that before. And that's because, you know, it's not my culture. It's not the style I do. But that doesn't mean 30 million people are wrong, that they don't like the game. That don't make sense. So, you know, the success is there, and they've actually have financially been building up with these games that we don't know much of. And then we're like, oh, wait a minute. They dropped that? Okay, wait a minute. They dropped this? And then you get surprised because all of a sudden you're like, okay, wait a minute. That was actually a pretty cool game. And this happens all the time. And this is where I do think they're still very relevant. They're still, if we had to do a top 10, they're still right there. If we go about the last 10 years and we take a moment, Cloudy, and we can break down, you know, Sony, Nintendo, you can go with EA, Take-Two, which you know, we go like a list, and we can try to categorize Ubisoft, EA, already said that. But if we go down the list of 10 different publishers, I would probably have Konami in there guaranteed in the top 10 somewhere.
Yeah,
you know,
number 10
for the 10 years. No. If we're talking about the last 10 years, do you want to go there real quick?
No, we can leave that for the next podcast.
Because that is a topic of like
because I could publisher. Because I could we could, you don't want to go? Let's go.
No, I'll just show you. No, let me just break it down to you. So first of all, they've been releasing a lot of the collections. All of Castlevania collection. They got the Contra collection. They got the new Contra game that you were talking about, but I don't care about that part. We're just going to talk about the main thing. They kept putting out the soccer games that are beating FIFA in a lot of ways. The Super Bomberman R game.
Competing.
This is all within the 10 years. The greatest game I've ever played till this day. The most dynamic difficulty, dynamic experiences that change depending on what you do, and just really something special. Metal Gear Solid V, the Phantom Pain, my personal greatest game of all time. They put out Metal Gear Rising on a great spin-off of Raiden. They put out, I'm just kind of like spitballing a little bit here, but they put out, that's, what is it, 2002?
Yeah.
22.
That's more than 10 years, but okay.
So no, I just gave you 10 years right now. The 10 years of those, some of the games that I'm naming that they put out within the last 10 years. So just a few. So I would think if you name a studio and you say, okay, what did they put out that's better than all of that on top of it? Like where do we go? And like I said, Sony, of course, without a doubt. We put Nintendo there. They have some great stuff in there. You know, we could go down a long list and try to sort out like all the best publishers. EA, Ubisoft, I really love them.
Xbox. Let's put Xbox in there because you can't take that. You can't leave them. You can't leave them out.
Yeah, we'll keep them in there. That's fair. 5.
Yep. Ubisoft.
What else? I already have that in there.
Ubisoft, EA, Square Enix with Final Fantasy, Tomb Raider.
Square Enix,
Capcom.
That's 7. I already got
Santa Monica. That's all Sony,
no,
right?
that's the studio. They were Sony.
Yeah, but those are all. Let me see.
That's a studio. It's different than a publisher. A publisher is the main person.
Yeah, that main one. Yeah, I'm thinking.
And then, so I mean, you got 3 spots left.
I'm thinking. I can't really think right now, but we named a lot of the big ones.
Can't put Konami in there.
But what I'm saying, but look at like far down there. They're all the way at the bottom, bro.
No, they're worse than the rest of these guys. They've been better than Xbox alone, in my opinion. Like, if I look at Xbox games, you got Gears. In the last 10 years, they came out with what, 3?
Mm-hmm.
No, 2. 2 full games, and then like a spin-off mobile game for Gears of War. They did like Halo, the one that just came out, Infinity, and they did some collection edition, which was like all the first 3 or whatever. What else did they have for Halo? You're not helping me on this conversation with the publishers, but
they have Forza. Forza is a really big racing game.
Forza, but Forza, okay, that's like 3 versus the 15 that I gave you.
Okay, there's a lot more. There's Sunset Overdrive that came out. That was a really big title for them as well.
Bro, that was like 20 years ago.
No, it wasn't.
We're talking 10 years.
We're talking 10 years. Yeah.
That's 10 years.
So like they have more than that. I just can't think right now. But the big ones, but just you like I said,
you could not think.
But I'm trying to explain. Good. But when I'm trying to explain to you, a lot of the ones you named are remakes or reboots. They're not even. No. They're all like collection editions of, like you said. The only ones that weren't is the only 2 big ones that you mentioned that weren't that way are FIFA. They're not FIFA, but they're soccer game. And
they put out Lord of Shadow.
And also,
the Metal Gear series.
And the Metal Gear series. That's it.
Metal Gear Rising, which is the Raiden game, which was amazing. He's hacking and slashing, cutting everything up. That was really cool. They got the Yu-Gi-Oh. Me and you will never play this, but that card game is big. That's one of the biggest in the world. The Super Bomberman R that you actually played, I gave you won like prizes off of that when I did all my tournaments.
But but that's my problem is that my question on this is why have they done as of late? What are they doing? What is the next big AAA title? I can't sit here and say Konami right now this year
Top 10?
That's coming out. What game is that they're doing right now that's been announced that's coming out?
I told you.
That you can't count that. That's a collection edition of stuff they've already done. Okay.
Yu-Gi-Oh just came out, and the new soccer game just came out.
Okay.
So those 2 are 2 of their biggest.
But the soccer games are pretty much like rinse and repeat, and I can't even count that. So
this is totally different. It's a totally new thing that they did.
You know. I can't say. I'm thinking in my head. 2K, has the basketball series and they got the Borderlands series. And they got some other big ones in there. They got some other really big titles too. But like, come on, man, you gotta give me more. You gotta let me know, like, hey, like, what is it?
Named 7 of them. You named like 1 publisher. I gave you a bunch of publishers.
So I just don't. I just don't see. Like I said, it's the Konami hasn't announced like another big hitter, like a big AAA. Like, am I lying? Do you guys agree or disagree? Do you guys agree or disagree?
I can't disagree with that statement. Now we're talking different statements.
My statement, because that's my statement is because the question is not even like is Konami still one of the best publishers? The question is, where is Konami? That's the question, because if I had to put that's my question, is because like where are they right now?
You just changed the topic. All right.
Where are they? And that's the reason why I say where are they, because if we're gonna talk who's the best publisher today, which is what the question was, Is
Yeah.
Konami the best publisher
Top 10,
today?
you couldn't name 10 people better.
What I'm trying to explain to you is my question is where are they? Because I don't see them as I don't see
'cause
them right now.
You don't play Dance Dance Revolution, me neither. But that's one of the biggest dancing games in history. And anytime you go to I don't know if you ever been to arcade lately, but you go to arcade, you're gonna see Dance Dance Revolution there with the little dancing pad and all that stupid stuff.
Yeah.
That is a huge game across the world. But for certain people like myself, I'm gaming at my house. I'm not out here trying to dance on a video game unless I go to my sister's house and we're like, oh, let's dance. And then we'll do a little dancing over there for a family.
I guess my take. I guess the reason why if we had to put a finger on it, but my thing is if I had to put my finger on it and say why I feel this way, a lot of it is it's I feel this the way I feel is because I remember I remember I wanted AAA and I remember what Konami at one point brung. Right. So if you're, if I see that they at one point they were developing all these great titles, and I mind you, like I said, I love the Ninja Turtle series. I love what they did. So I'm not discouraging it. Continue to bring it because I would love to enjoy that. But my thing is that, where are you as far as those type of games, right? For people like me, there hasn't been anything for me.
Because you got to understand, go to mobile games right now. They got a brand new Contra called Contra Returns. They got a new Castlevania for Souls called Souls. They got
but that's
the Yu-Gi-Oh! You can play on mobile. You could play the soccer game on mobile. You could play another game named Eden Zero on mobile. These are very successful right now. Huge titles this year coming out. And if you want the full list, I'm going to give it to you right now. They dropped Super Bomberman Online, which is the 64-player battle royale version. So it's just a battle royale version only. You can play it right now. You can go download. Actually, we should play that one day. Go at it.
So if Konami wants to prove me wrong, everybody's doing these directs and these showcases. Then showcase something because then at least I'll have a better insight as to what you're doing. Because as of now, I haven't heard or seen anything that I'd be like, oh my god, I say, oh my god, that game looks amazing, and then I sit here and I say, oh, who's making that game? And I find out the publisher's Konami, and I'm like, oh, they back, right? I get crazy. But the thing is that there hasn't been a game that I've watched or saw that I'm like, oh, and then I find out that it's Konami. I haven't seen that since Metal Gear. So when I sit here and I say,
Gamescom?
I would love to go to Gamescom.
Can you go to Germany?
I would love to go to Germany. It's on the weekend for sure.
If you had a paid flight, paid hotel,
the only
thing is you got to take work off.
If I had
like 4 days.
The 4 day that is tough because I have to try to figure out a schedule for work, but I will have to figure it out.
Yeah, but look for this year. Let me break it all down before we end this topic. Right, the Super Bombermen are a battle royale game. The eFootball. Also, a big game for them. Yu-Gi-Oh! That I just told you about.
Yeah.
They got the PlayStation 5 version and the mobile version. Battle of Dawn Royale. Beat Area. Castlevania, the full collection, advanced collection that came out this year. This is all this year. The football, a.k.a. eFootball, a.k.a. soccer for you Americans that don't even know about that. This Memorial game, which is big in Asia. These are a lot of big Asia games, by the way. Dance Dance Revolution, Grand Pix, Sound. And again, none of these are big AAAs. But if you come to Gamescom, we will see some different.
Like I said, it seems like I feel like Konami likes remastering and retaking old titles and making them new. Then give me my Metal Gear series. And then we can talk. So
go to Gamescom and we'll see what happens.
That's my take.
The Metal Gear Solid series sold like 60,000 plus easily. And, we'll see what happens when Gamescom comes around. And the stories about Silent Hill coming back. It's another conversation, one of the greatest horror games ever. Yeah. But yeah, we'll see what's up. I think if you're right how you feel as far as all of us, myself included, wanting something to come out, but the pandemic came, it slowed
Yep.
down what they were doing, and they had to readjust. And in Japan and Asia in general, they're very strict with the work laws. There's so many studios, separate topic, by the way, so many studios getting shut down because of the pandemic and not being able to open up again, and that's it. So we're
Yeah.
lucky that they're still working on everything that they're doing, and they really, really taking it to the next level. So
Yeah.
we gonna see.
We gonna see. It's like I said, I'm all for hearing what they got to say. So, like I said, I guess I'm not. It's not me hating on Konami because I want the best for, I love video games, and they are the publishers for a lot of really big IPs that I loved and enjoyed even growing up. So I would hate to see them be out of the conversation, and me saying how I feel is just me speaking my truth as to what they've been showing as far as a publisher when it comes to games, right? And yes, they're developing a lot of other little titles here and there, and that become big titles because there's not much competition in a lot of those sectors. So it's not like you got a lot of big competition in Dance Dance Revolution, but you understand what I'm saying. So my biggest thing is like I want me like a nice AAA experience with Ninja Turtles. I want me my Metal Gear back. I want Metal Gear to come up with a 6. Metal Gear 6. You don't have Kojima prove that he made a mistake in leaving and being a part of that series. How are you gonna do that? Get someone who knows the series, who understands it top to bottom, who wants to take that series to another level, who's able to introduce great storytelling with Metal Gear, and take the Metal Gear foundation and what they built as far as story and take it and kick it up another notch, like what they did with God of War, and bring it back fresh, new, and bring back Metal Gear 6. And they can do that because there's so much story and lore when it comes to that game that I feel like they have so many people in the community that they can just feed off of and kind of figure out how their next Metal Gear series is going to go and put together a very beautiful story.
Yeah. Let me say something about that because you trying to open up my wounds here. I had my game and I have my game, but I wanted to polish it and do a lot of work to it before I put it out. And I actually want to build a team and basically have a studio before I do. I got trust issues. All right. And actually Corey Barlog on Twitter, it's on a tweet. So you can probably see it if you go Google me and him on Twitter. We had a conversation. I was just talking about it. And he's like, you should go for it. Don't, hopefully you can make it, this and that. He encouraged me to not be afraid of the issue that presenting your game to us. This is what happens when you go to present it. The idea is anybody's. No matter if I copyright the script, I can patent some specific thing. I can do all this extra work. But the idea, once it's in the air, there's no way to get it back.
To protect it.
And anybody can use it. And that's a scary thing because what I have is the revolutionary experience. And it's surrounded with the Metal Gear lore, but I've hidden it so deep that it's going to be hard to retract it. So I've been retracting it so that I could make it just its own game. And then the lore is going to change now a little bit because I didn't want it to be Metal Gear specifically because I want to present it when I present it, multiple studios, publishers, and see who takes it because I have trust issues. So I got to do that. But the point behind that is that, yes, you're right. Somebody needs to take over. What people don't realize is Kojima had a 10-year plan for Metal Gear. He already had Metal Gear Survive, but he didn't have as many creatures in Metal Gear Survive. When he came up with that idea, it was really more so the concept of, I don't want to spoil the story, but the concept of what it was without the creature version of the game. So they ruined it kind of from what he wanted to create, and they turned it into a more general gameplay because he did want you to be able to build structures. And in that game, it's like Fortnite. Before Fortnite, you're building up walls, you're blocking off areas and you're doing all this stuff. So, you know, and he had other games and it's a whole thing that he wanted to do. And I study Kojima's mind. I study the way he develops. I literally study everything about this guy. He's the only human that I do that with deeply because I love his creativity, because he wants to have a message behind his every game he makes. There's something deeper to the stories. So it's never just like, oh, play the game and there's some story, you fight, you save the person, and it's over. It's always like deep messages for you in your life and what to get out of it. And that's actually why, Claudia, I told you to play Death Stranding, because I think you need it in your life. The meaning and messages behind Death Stranding of a hero, no spoilers on the story, but there's a hero who's very depressed and in a depressed world, in a world that is very dark, and he just wants to try and connect and do the best he can, you know, for the situation. It's a long story, but it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful game, and I want you to try that. But anyways, for Metal Gear, yes, come to Gamescom, and we'll see what happens. What Konami's going to announce, what is going to be out there. You know, I made it public. Konami's coming to Gamescom. It's not official, but I don't care. They could get mad at me, and you know, I'm making enemies out of my own allies. But hey, they're gonna be there. Word around town, I got the info. Without them confirming it with me, I know. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, but we're done with that topic. I think you're not wrong for feeling how you feel. I feel how I feel. I don't think I'm right about what I'm saying because it's a different Western Americanized view that you're speaking about versus the whole rest of the world where they're very popular with these other games. So it's really tough.
Yeah, like I said, they're not speaking my language. So
that's actually what's happening.
Yeah, it's Konami speaking my language. I know, not right now, but I think they can be. And like I said, and you know, I don't lose hope. I always, you know, walk with faith and hope that, you know, these companies will do the right thing and kind of, you know, and not even do the right thing, but just kind of eventually give us what we want, right? But like I said, everything it takes a lot of time and energy to develop anything, and I know, trust me, I'm here trying to develop this podcast for you guys. I'm here developing a website. I'm doing a bunch of things in the behind the scenes. There's a lot of energy, a lot of work together with being a family man, together with holding down a full-time job, together with doing my day-to-day things, right? I still have to make time to kind of put all this together for you guys, and the energy and the dedication and efforts that it takes to make this happen. Behind the scenes, it's extraordinary efforts, right? So I understand and I get it. So I'm patient and I'm here. You know, I speak what I'm speaking based on my feelings on, you know, what I know for them to be, right? Like I know how great they are and what they've presented. And I just kind of, you know, I want that. I want that back. And, you know, so it's like,
say something real quick on that? First and foremost, you're right. But Metal Gear Solid V: The Phantom Pain, I said, is the greatest game I ever played. I looked into the production. It cost $180 million. Not $1 million, not $2 million, $180 million just to produce the game. Never mind promoting, marketing, and management, all that stuff. Just to make the game.
Yeah.
And that's not easy. And during a pandemic, 2 years, you know, I didn't see the sun. I spent every day in the sun for the summer so far, out in the sun for a couple hours. I have to do it. I haven't done it today. I'm going to do it the moment we're done. I'm literally going to put on some things and walk out this house to get some sun, because I spent 2 years in my house every day, and I love being in my house. I love playing video games, but it felt like I was trapped in a way, and I didn't give myself enough me time. So now I'm giving me time, and I love it. But all of that said, and it's a lot of rambling there, the point is the pandemic crushed a lot of people, it crushed a lot of companies, and, you know, time would tell. Maybe this was supposed to be out 2 years ago or a year ago, and now they retracted after all the delay from the pandemic, and maybe they'll announce some by August and September.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like I said, we just see. Well, you just have to hope and see what happens. But yeah, I'm actually gonna go enjoy my day too today. That's kind of like, I think everybody needs to kind of always give themselves a break from things and kind of, give themselves that moment of like, you know, space and like, being able to breathe fresh air and be able to kind of like I said, take a step back for a second and then come back to things with a fresh mind and a fresh view, right? But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed everything that was discussed today. Like I said, we split it up a little bit different. We did our news in the beginning, talked a little bit about us, so you get a good insight as to who we are as content creators and as regular people, right? And then on top of that, just to kind of give you guys some insight as to how we feel about certain topics regarding like today's topics. Big three were Outriders, whether or not it was the best looter shooter. Overwatch 2, whether it was just a copy and paste or did they just put a few tweaks in it? Do you agree? Do you disagree? And then a really big one that we think was long-winded, but I felt like it was necessary because you got to see two really strong, different point of views on how we feel was Konami. So is Konami still one of the best publishers of today's day and age, right? Of today. So, we gave our really good takes on that. And we have so much more to talk about. And next week, there's going to be a lot more stuff happening within the gaming industry. And we're always going to find some nice new things to talk about and to be able to give you guys our fresh takes on a lot of great topics that are happening, never mind in the industry, but then you guys get to know about how we feel about certain things that's been, going around, and you get to know a little bit about myself personally, who I am, what I do, Mag himself being a content creator, what he does, how he thinks his life, and then on top of it too, you can always catch me over live at Cloudy Chip TV, over at Twitch. Right here, right where you guys are at. You can always catch me live. I always post it typically before I go live. I'll post it up on Twitter. So if you want to go ahead and follow me over at Twitter. I'm trying to stay as active as possible, but every time I go live, you'll know when and where to find me. Over at Cloudy Chip TV, over at Twitter, and over at twitch.com. Twitch.tv.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Any last words, Mag?
Yes, guys. The summertime is very slow, usually around July, usually for gaming. And that's good because you get to go enjoy the day, enjoy the summer, and actually enjoy the weather, enjoy family. If you don't have family or friends, make some. Guess what? There's other people who don't have friends either. You can be the friend to make the friend and make the effort and make somebody's day. And then you treat somebody good, they'll treat you good. And that's how the world works. So get out there and live like that. And when you're on games as well, do the same thing. Enjoy it. Give back good vibes. Throw some jokes. Play around. Whatever. Be a good teammate. All of that good stuff. It's a small world. Guess what? I'm gonna say something dark here, but it's a positive thing if you know how to listen to it. Guess what? You were born, which means you're gonna die. So that means might as well live without fear because your number's coming, buddy. And if you don't use it, it's gonna destroy you one day. You'll be dead. So you might as well use it before you die. Before you die.
Wow, this guy went dark, but yeah, I see the message in that. Use it before you lose.
That's better I can say.
Use it before you lose it.
You are going to die. Go live and enjoy your life while you can before you die.
Oh man. All right, so yeah, to end it on like I said, nice way to end it. Like I said, hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Stay dreaming, stay young, keep it rolling. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.